Welcome to Sound and Communications VIEWpoint. My name is Christina De Bono, and I'm with ClearTech Media. And this is Catherine Shanahan from Shanahan Sound. And today we're talking about opportunities for minority-owned businesses in the commercial AV market. And I thought we could start out about talking on what the definition of a minority-owned business is, and kind of looking at all the entities that you can be within this status.
There's multiple definitions and entities. They start with what you and I would be, or I am a woman-owned business, so I'm a WBE. And then I have also the state certification for the same situation. The WBE is the national corporate designation as a woman-owned business. But there's also the minority woman-owned businesses, the Disabled American Veterans Enterprise is a small business enterprise, which I understand you are.
Right.
There's disadvantaged business enterprise, which is something I just found out in researching for all of this, and I'm going to probably go for that because I realized I can do it. But you have the SBA. What made you decide to do that?
The small business enterprise, which is another designation which I think we discussed, is something that you might want to go after as well. In particularly our region, with certain government agencies, particularly the education market, being an SBE, which is what it's called, gives you certain advantages in bid situations. And also a lot of particularly government agencies and school districts internally and also through laws that have been passed, try to contract out a certain percentage to SBEs. In the state of California, it's typically about 25%. However, it does vary from district to district or government agency to government agency. So that's kind of the challenge, but it does give you a certain advantage.
What was the advantage?
Again, with us, I think that it's primarily with the government and education market. And in particular, if you have relationships with clients who want to do business with you and need to justify why they're doing business with you, it enables them to do so.
Did you find it was something you had to do? What made you decide to do it?
I think it's primarily with the relationships that we have, because we're very much into building relationships with customers, that it gives them an additional advantage to doing business with us. And in addition to that, there's a lot of particularly school districts who have to contract out or are trying to contract out a certain percentage of their work.
So you're talking about the state mandates for affirmative action and for small businesses and for minority businesses that are in place, that these agencies want to be able and need to be able to use that, your designation, as a way to purchase from you.
Correct. And it's need is kind of a loosely defined term. A lot of times it's that they are attempting or trying to meet a certain quota. Yeah. And so they have aggressive outreach programs, and if you do meet that status, it's advantageous to you as well as them.
So you got your designation through the SBA. Mine comes through the Center for Women in Enterprise, which deals with minority women businesses and with women-owned businesses such as myself. So you have to have the 51% designation, correct? Which is the same with the SBA?
The SBE, you just have to be a certain size business in order to get that designation. And with that, we have so much more to talk about, but we are going to go to break now and continue this conversation.
Protect your system from getting toasted. Surgex is the world leader in AC power conditioning technologies. When downtime is not an option, rely on Surgex. It's power protection you can trust.
Welcome back to Sound and Communications Viewpoint. We're continuing our discussion on opportunities for minority-owned businesses in the commercial AV market. And Catherine, I think the last time we were talking about the actual terminology and also getting the designations. And I guess we should go into, once we have a designation, how do we utilize that designation?
The designations mostly are a marketing tool. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to get the job. You know that.
Right.
You still have to build a relationship. You still have to go out there and promote your company, but it's an extra way for you to be able to legitimize yourself, to have strength in the marketplace, and to use it to say, here I am, this is what I do, talk to me. But you still have to do the bid, you still have to go out there, you still have to win the contract, and you still have to produce. You have to produce. It's not an automatic given that you get this job just because you have the designation. One thing I did find, and you and I talked about this, is that once you had the designations, there were many companies and many entities that were willing and much more open to working with you because you've been vetted, you've been checked out, they know exactly who you are and where you are, and there's no surprises when they work with you.
Right, and I would agree with that. In your market, do you find that there are specific companies that seek you out, or when they see that you have the designations, they want to do business with you all the more?
You're right. Some of the corporations, they have their own internal mandates to say we want to work with this many. We want to work with minority or women-owned business or disadvantaged businesses. And they have that internal structure that they're going to do that. When they find somebody that can do the job and do it well, it's another plus. They're more inclined to work with you because they want to. In the bid situation, sometimes with the different construction companies, they're also mandated that they have to have, as some of their subcontractors, a certain amount of disadvantaged women-owned or minority businesses doing the work for them. So when you go to put your bid in, you have that right on all your paperwork that you have it. And that is an advantage. It's a major marketing tool, is what it is.
How do you market those designations, and where do you find it to be most effective in terms of companies or government agencies recognizing that as part of doing business with you?
We have it on our website. We have it on all our letterhead. All of our sales staff speak to it and talk about it. But it's something that I didn't get the designation for almost 12 years after I owned the company and owned it 100%. I didn't do it.
And what motivated you to...
A marketing company told me, do it. You've got it. You can do it. Just go out and get it. Now, there is the amount of time that it takes to do it and the paperwork, and you also have to have somebody that's constantly on top of it, because some of these certifications renew every year, some of them every 3 years, and you have to be on top of that, because if it's gone and you don't know about it, you've lost an opportunity.
Well, that brings up another point that probably we should talk about, which is the challenges in getting these designations and adhering to all the bureaucracy and paperwork involved.
Initially, when I first did it, the paperwork is this big. It's huge. There's a lot of work to go through. You have to get all kinds of documentation, and especially in my case, where the transfer was between family members, it's not like you're starting out as a woman-owned business. You have to prove that you've bought the business, that you are in control, that there's no... many of the states want you to be very... their integrity is at stake, and they want to make sure that you are who you say you are. So there is the interview process and all of that. Now, online, with the internet, it's much easier. There's assessment tools that you can go out and see if you qualify for this designation. It's much, much easier than it was before.
Well, this has been so valuable, I believe. I think we're going to end our first segment of opportunities for minority-owned businesses in the commercial AV market. Please tune in to part 2. My name is Christina De Bono with ClearTech Media, and this is Catherine Shanahan from Shanahan Sound, and we look forward to talking again in a couple weeks. Thank you.